Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to the group again. I think this is a really useful set of information around Enterprise Manager and the PeopleSoft AMS product. I'll just move into the presentation. So, as we do with any Oracle presentation, any comments I make about future releases is guided by the safe harbor statement. So, just to cover go over what we're going to cover: the Oracle solution, application management challenges, the strategy both from customer perspective and from PeopleSoft and Oracle perspective. And then go into some of an overview of the solution itself, and then we'll take some questions. So historically, customer challenges around particularly PeopleSoft management, because there were no PeopleSoft delivered tools other than really PS Admin. So Management Insight was to some extent an afterthought. There were lots of different tools around. You can see that a lot of the those different vendors. Some of whom went through the PeopleSoft partner certification and now go through what's called OVI, which is the Oracle Validated Integration. Because there are many tools, they required many skill sets. It could lead to a lot of overlap in the data being provided, so difficulty extracting the real information from that data. In a lot of cases, because we had different tools looking at different parts of the stack, then it was difficult to establish who's responsible for managing the issue. There weren't any real automated solutions, and there was no without additional manipulation and customization, there was no line of business visibility. So as PeopleSoft joined Oracle, as with all of the organizations that Oracle acquires, there's a sort of an obligation for that organization then to deliver a plugin for Enterprise Manager. Enterprise Manager itself has been around for a long time. Well, a lot of our customers, a lot of PeopleSoft customers use Enterprise Manager for database administration, but having the plugin for PeopleSoft then allows them to extend the value of that investment into managing PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft, as part of Oracle, is able to leverage the work that's been done by EM Core around things like the notification, the UI, things like beacons, some of the internal mechanics of Enterprise Manager. And then we also are able to manage to leverage the work being done by the platform group in PeopleTools. So as I say to people, this is not a product that PeopleSoft had to develop from scratch. We were able to take a lot of already delivered work to make the plugin. Because we're using the UI and the other features of Enterprise Manager Core, then we have that it's a holistic view across all of the components. So administrators at any stage in the organization or any level in the organization, then they're seeing generally a common view into the underlying technology. And we deliver a new plugin for PeopleSoft with each release of PeopleTools. So our plugin is always up to date and always supports the supported platforms and the supported versions of PeopleTools. And then we've got integration with the other products that are delivered as part of Enterprise Manager, RUI, which is the Real User Experience Insight, and ATS, which is the Application Testing Suite. So generally, most PeopleSoft implementations, PeopleSoft scales horizontally rather than vertically, so that even a small PeopleSoft implementation can have many application servers and objects then within the stack. Because of that, because typically most customers either are running the the application servers. They may be running them on different physical servers. They may be running on virtual servers, or they may partition the larger server. So there's no centralized repository for the even for the log files. We tend not to maintain historical data, other than the fact that the log files are sitting in a repository somewhere, and there's no application performance data directly from the application. A lot of customers are using Performance Monitor. The Performance Monitor tends to be PeopleSoft centric. Enterprise Manager then is across the enterprise, obviously. So the consequence of that is there's high IT complexity, because you're managing lots of different objects, physically separate objects in a lot of cases, and the need to go into those is the high IT cost is because we have all of those objects. Then we have a lot of skills that high cost skills involved. And it can lead to poor customer satisfaction. This is internal as well as external customer satisfaction. So going through the stack from an enterprise manager perspective, managing the physical environments, managing the database, managing the middleware, and then managing out of the box or insight into the applications, unlimited apps, and into Fusion apps to deliver a complete stack. So from the customer main benefits are there's first of all, Enterprise Manager then provides single source of truth. As I said, uniformity and standardization, because we're using leveraging the Enterprise Manager UI. We've got a similar experience for administrators that right across all of the managed objects. We're able to reduce the deployment times. We'll see that in a little while, because the PeopleSoft has configuration management built into the plugin. Reducing the cost of ownership, because we're reducing the cost of maintaining the system. The target for, certainly from my perspective, for the Enterprise Manager and the PeopleSoft plugin is to change the way we manage PeopleSoft from being reactive to being proactive. If we can reduce the number of issues or number of problems that can become issues before they actually become issues, then we're changing the way that the system gets managed. And obviously with all of that, then we're reducing the management risk and hopefully improving the support experience as well. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I'm talking about RUI. So from a line of business perspective, we're providing visibility into the system health. We've got a number of landing pages and topology pages. We can set up with the beacons and the other features, the inherent features in Enterprise Manager, some baseline performance. So we get visual cues as to how the system is performing, and we can also set alerts against how those standard say transactions are performing as well. It provides the capability to meet the SLAs, both delivering reporting on the service levels and meeting the SLAs and for internal and external customers. Dashboards. In a lot of cases with PeopleSoft, dashboards are created based off some scripts running, say, things like tmadmin to pull information from the application server, some grep utilities maybe that's running against the log files, pulling those into spreadsheets and then producing some graphing from the spreadsheets. So it can take quite a long time to actually produce the dashboard or status report from a PeopleSoft system. That's there's an increased efficiency in the way that's done through Enterprise Manager. Enterprise Manager has its own reporting tools. It also has an interface to OBIEE, which is the Oracle Business Intelligence reporting. Because we're getting alerting and we've got these visual cues within the system, the whole prospect of resource planning is made considerably easier. So do we need to add more app servers? Do we need to add more web servers, more disk space? All of that information is available to help with resource planning. From the RUI perspective then, looking at the way that the transaction flows from the user to the application, Are transactions abandoned? What's the completion times? Is there changes in the completion times based on, say, the number of users who are accessing the system? All that information becomes available. And again, the alerting and notification goes all the way across the system. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on too. Providing visibility into line of business management, into the incidents that are being captured on the system, how they're being managed, how they're being triaged, and then effectively how they're being resolved. And then for PeopleSoft exposes a web service called Process Request, and that in the PeopleSoft management suite then becomes another target, the same as the application server or the web servers. The actual interface into the batch scheduler and reporting becomes another target. So it's just a very simplistic view that each of the applications within Oracle have plugins that plug into the same UI. So again, just to reiterate, managing the application as a single entity. So we got this holistic view across the enterprise. Because it's a single system that's doing the management and providing the reporting and the alerting, then we're not having competing utilities, maybe delivering different reports on the same issues or the same problem areas. As I said, we are leveraging both the EM core development and the PeopleTools platform development to deliver this. And then we'll see from the topology views how the enterprise manager actually creates this connectivity between the different components. So again, recognize and manage the Oracle technology targets, understanding the relationships between independent yet related targets. So, for instance, the database, PeopleSoft Application Server, PeopleSoft PIA, and the web servers. A lot of customers have their own scripts. So, in many cases, the capabilities delivered by Enterprise Manager actually replaces those custom scripts. But the other aspect of Enterprise Manager is if a customer has scripts that deliver very specific information that are required for managing the system, then those scripts can actually be incorporated into Enterprise Manager. All of the information from the managed targets all goes into a central OMS database, which can also be reported on. And then obviously we have historical reporting based on system performance over years, again in a standard way, and then the ad hoc dashboarding based both on the internal reporting tools and the integration with OBIEE. Oracle has what's called an extensibility exchange, and this is like a marketplace both for customers who develop their own plugins and for organizations like NetApp and some of the other vendors who have developed plugins for Enterprise Manager for their particular services or servers. So again, this is just capturing the different aspects of Enterprise Manager as a whole. One of the interesting things that we have from a PeopleSoft perspective is the ability to run the configuration directly from the Enterprise Manager screens, compare configurations between different instances of say application server. In a lot of cases, using this tool, customers will say create what they call a gold image. So this is their defined standard for the organization. So they can compare then the configuration between an application service, say under investigation, with the gold standard, or even check the historic settings for that server. So have the settings changed over time? When we look at this is ad hoc or scheduled comparisons, we'll see also that PeopleSoft delivers, as part of the Enterprise Manager compliance framework, PeopleSoft delivers a number of policies. So we can create alerting based on those policies. So not only do we have the ability to do this ad hoc reporting against the differences between systems, but we also have the ability to generate alerts when anything is changed in the configuration. So this is just a quick look at the number of metrics that are delivered in the PeopleSoft 854 plugin. Anybody on any PeopleSoft administrators will certainly be familiar with the need and the utility of these metrics. For Process Monitor, the number of metrics that we deliver. And again, as I said, we can create alerts, so warning and critical thresholds against any of these metrics. PRCS, Process Scheduler, the PS site. And then this is one of the other useful features that come in as part of Enterprise Manager is we can have, there's a lot of utilities, a lot of features around the database that are also delivered as part of Enterprise Manager. So things like the performance analyzer. So overall, what we're trying to do is, as I said, we're creating this holistic view across the enterprise. Administrators who are, say, cross-trained on different features will recognize fairly quickly the screens for the pages for the different managed objects, because there isn't a great deal of difference in the layout and things like that. So it's very quick to come up to speed on any particular managed object. The proactive management, as I said, the ability to create alerting on both critical and warning thresholds against any of the managed objects, and those thresholds can be configured based on the internal knowledge and the internal requirements for alerting. So it's not a fixed set. So because we're using this holistic view across the enterprise, there's better visibility and efficiency. So that people don't have to have once they're familiar with Enterprise Manager, the individual screens then don't need additional explanation in terms of managing the system. A lot of out-of-the-box dashboard, and as I said, the ad hoc, the ability using both the internal reporting tool and the integration with OBIEE. So from a PeopleSoft perspective, as I said, the PeopleSoft scales horizontally, so there's always multiple instances, and we have, as well as a production instance, there may be dev, test, prod, and maybe staging, or some customers have 5 different instances for every production instance, and each of those may have 1 or 2 application servers. Maybe they only have 1 WebLogic server, but there's always multiple instances. One of the other areas which I like in here is that most of our customers, when they're looking at port usage, so they're configuring, say, application server, they've got to be aware of the fact that the JSLs and the JSH and WSL, WSH are dynamically grabbing ports. And that has to be very, there's to be a lot of diligence in terms of managing the configuration to avoid port usage. This makes that whole job much easier. Most customers will just say a spreadsheet with a whole lot of lists in it to try and avoid overusing or double using, say, ports. And then understanding the user experiences. This is where Ruby comes into play, the Real User Experience Insight, which is part of the license for AMS, the Application Management Suite. So then one of the primary benefits from a technical perspective, in my view, is this proactive management, whereby creating the alerting and the warning and critical thresholds, we have a better view into what's happening on the system, and certainly recognizing problem areas before they happen. The exposing the process request web service gives us better granular management of the whole reporting and batch services. And then reducing administration overheads, because we've got this commonality of views into the system. We can change the way the administration actually costs that whole employee or administrator life cycle management. So this is a typical. This is an overview of a typical enterprise manager with PeopleSoft AMS implementation. The RUI server, which is the real user experience insight, is essentially like a TCP/IP sniffer on steroids. It has built-in PeopleSoft awareness, so it can recognize PeopleSoft transactions to provide better reporting. That's a separate install, but it also has integration with Enterprise Manager. So the administrator can go directly to the RUI server for a very deep dive, granular access into the transaction flow, or that can be brought through Enterprise Manager through what's called a business application, and we'll see a bit of that in a minute. So PeopleSoft delivers support for all of the managed objects and all of the managed platforms. We support the supported versions of PeopleTools, so the 854 release of the plugin supports 854, 853 and 852 of PeopleTools. So the customer's opportunity then for success is the looking at the user experience, the domain administration, and we can stop and start domains directly from Enterprise Manager. You'll see when I go into the demo, you can see you'll recognize a lot of the features that are available through Enterprise Manager. And I think the primary benefits are, as I say, the ease of use. First of all, there's this commonality of UI across all of the managed stack, and then as I said, for me, the ability to change from reactive management to proactive management. I joined PeopleSoft as a technical consultant, so I remember how much effort there was in triaging issues from a technical perspective. And just so this is an overview of RUI. As you can see here, the way RUI is implemented is through a network tap, or the switch replicating traffic through a particular port. So I'd say it's essentially just grabbing all of the TCP/IP traffic, but because it has built-in application awareness, then it can turn that sort of base or raw TCP/IP traffic into meaningful information from an application perspective. From a RUI perspective, pure RUI, then RUI has its own set of dashboards around the performance and health of the system. But what I'll do is I'll just break out into So this is a typical landing page in Enterprise Manager. This is the overall health of the system. I can go particularly to the PeopleSoft targets. So I've got insight here into PeopleSoft. This can be my landing page if I'm a PeopleSoft administrator. I can then go to the PeopleSoft targets. You can see here that in this case, all of the objects are gathered under the GUI. This label here is a customizable label, so I can change this to either say relevant to a geo, relevant to business units. The same with these labels here. I've got prod and production. I can say what it's particularly production for. And then if I go into the application server, so again, this is the landing page for the application server in this case. One of the base graphs that we deliver here is the CPU and memory utilization. In this case here, the pink or red area and the yellow area are the warning and critical threshold areas. So this is configurable. On this page here, I've got the incident notification, so I can go and look at the incident. Now I can see, get more insight into what's going on. This also gives me a direct link into my Oracle support. So if I have known issues, I can go directly to when I click on Oracle support. If there are known issues around this area, whatever this incident is for, then I'll get back some insight into that issue from my Oracle support. Just go back into the application server. So I can look at the performance. Again, we'll see when I've got a small demo of the 854 interface, and you can see that we've changed this to be a more portal-like experience. Things like disk I/O, CPU, host, memory. Then we also have the down here is a better thing. It's app server handler counts and the tuxedo connections. So again, this is the sort of thing where I want to see how the system is being utilized. By setting the warning and critical thresholds here, I get a better view of when the system is starting to be overloaded. I can go directly to the log files from here. We have, I should really do a purge on these logs. So I've got direct access into the log files from this screen. That means I don't have to go out. If I'm managing 5 or 6 different application servers, I don't have to go out into that host, log in at the OS level, then drill down into the directory or folder areas in that server to get to the log files. I can get them directly from here. The other aspect of this is that I have the ability to search or effectively do a grep on any particular file. It will return to me the lines that include that string. So I can go directly to the say I'm looking for get certificate errors. I can find all those errors and go directly to the section of the log file that I'm particularly interested in. And then exposing some of the administration features. As I said, I can configure the domain from here. This is essentially the same as I have with PSAdmin, but I've exposed it as an interface, and I can create metadata to provide more meaningful instructions here for any of these values. So you can see here, like the different areas in PSAdmin, but I've exposed it as a GUI from this perspective. The other thing then is the topology, which can also be exposed as a landing page. This gives me a view into the. obviously this can be more complex depending on the number of application servers or web servers I have, or even if I've added the process schedulers in here. I can see immediately that I've got this visual cue that there are incidents outstanding against this. I can dig deeper into that and look at the incidents. So these instances are being generated by the warning and critical thresholds that I've set. I can go here as an administrator and then manage that incident. So first of all, acknowledge it so it doesn't keep popping up. Set the status. If I decided on any particular escalation levels or priorities, assign it to a user or to an administrator. And then add some comment here. So what happens then is that when this user logs in and goes to the incident management area, all of these will be open incidents against that user, so they can start working on it to either triage it or resolve it and then close it out. So I've got a level of incident management built into the product. And then the other area I wanted to show is the process monitor. So again, as you see, we've got a commonality of UI. These pages look very similar across, so that the user doesn't have to do any, or the administrator doesn't have to go through any complex navigation to find out the information that they need. From managing the performance monitor perspective, I've got a number of graphs which are the high touch point metrics that I'm interested in looking at. So I've got I get some visual cues here. And then in administration, I can go in directly to process monitor here. So I've got access into the screen the same as I would have it as if I'd gone in through the PA directly. And again, in any of these, as I said, if I go into, say, the metrics here, so within here, then I can view, get a deeper view into the into the metrics. I've got the warning threshold set. I can when I'm setting the thresholds, then I don't necessarily want a warning to be sent out every time something spikes. But I have the ability then to set the alert on a sequence of spikes. So if I have 3 or 4 instances, one after the other, I can make that the alert rather than making just a single spike the alert. And the last area then here are the baseline services. I can set up some typical tests. From a PeopleSoft perspective, this is the login, so I can get a visual view then on the baseline over time for that login, and I can set these up. Every managed server, every managed object within the network can become the source for these tests. It doesn't have to be a PeopleSoft specific server. So I could essentially create what they're called beacons. I could essentially create beacons from any part of my network. I can overlay them in here and see what the performance is like across the whole network using standard testing. Now this is a fairly simple test. It's the PeopleSoft login. Enterprise Manager and the PeopleSoft Application Management Suite comes with a zero-cost license for a feature called OpenScript, which is used for the application testing suite. OpenScript can be used to effectively create fairly complex standard tests. So things like, say, looking up a voucher or viewing payroll, any critical transactions within the network or within the application can effectively become a beacon, and I can see when I go into this screen then the performance over time. This is where I said that I have a spike here. I don't necessarily want to be creating lots of alerting and notification every time I get a spike like this, but if I have a number of occurrences in succession for this response time, then I do want to start creating alerts, and I can define where those alerts go, who receives the alerts from the system. And then just to go into 854, this plugin is not built into the central demo system yet, because it was only released with PeopleTools 854. Okay, as you can see here, the landing page, again, which is part of Enterprise Manager, is similar to how it was with the overall demo. I've got the visual cues here, number of instances that are open, things like that. If I go into the PeopleSoft targets, again, we have the same labeling. With PeopleSoft, every PeopleSoft database has a unique GUID, or at least should have a unique GUID, unless you've cloned the environment, just copied over everything. If you clone environments like that, then you need to zero out the GUID before you start up PSAdmin or start up the server, so that GUID is recreated on that first time. And within Enterprise Manager, then all of the stack, the PeopleSoft stack, is tied to the database GUID. So I just want to go in here to show that what we've done with 854 is take advantage of the new features, the new UI features that have been delivered by Enterprise Manager. As you can see here, there's a slight difference in the layout. One of the interesting things about the database. So Enterprise Manager has its own database plugin. So PeopleSoft doesn't try and replicate all of those features. But what we do is we can. Let me just remind myself where this is. Look at this last collected. So this is one of the features I like here is that the PeopleSoft plugin will actually list all of the patches that have been applied to the database or to the application. So I can very quickly confirm that a patch or a bundle has actually been applied or not for PeopleSoft. And also this information then becomes useful if I do have to open a case with support. I can very quickly confirm whether these patches have been applied or not. From the if I go just back to that target and go into the application server, As you see here, we've got this visual queue again, that all of the objects are up. If I'm bringing down a system for maintenance, I obviously don't want Enterprise Manager then starting to generate alerts because that object has gone offline. So there's a concept in Enterprise Manager called blackout, and blackout then stops that object from reporting issues. So again, you see there the navigation is based on the drop down rather than the tabs. In here, I've got a portal-like experience, so I can collapse these the graph areas, or I can move them up and down depending on what's important for me to see. Okay. And again, we have all of the same features available here on the drop down that we did have on the tabs in the 853 version. The 853 version used an older UI feature within Enterprise Manager. So again, the ability to start and stop the domains directly from here, again, doesn't mean that I can spend as an administrator. I can do all of the management that I would normally have done, say, from PS Admin, directly from this the UI here. I've got that single view across the whole enterprise. So we say it's non-intrusive because, first of all, we're doing a pull. It's not Performance Monitor. If you're familiar with PeopleSoft Performance Monitor, there's an agent that was pushing data back to the DB all the time. So there's significant performance efficiencies in using Enterprise Manager over the Performance Monitor. Performance Monitor does have its own use case, but as I say, it's PeopleSoft centric. Having the Enterprise Manager plugin then gives us the ability to have a holistic view across the whole enterprise. We don't need to, with each release of PeopleSoft, or People Tools, as I said, the new version comes out. So, and that can be, there are management utilities within Enterprise Manager to deploy that new version fairly quickly to all of the managed objects. Just to go back to the would have been useful. I think it's useful to have a look at the RUI interface with PeopleSoft. And that's done through business application. And there's a PeopleSoft profile already set up in here. I won't wait for that to, I'll just go directly in here. But again, this provides me with the ability to view how a user's experience within the system has been effective. And if I've got multiple geos, see if that's So you can see here then the from my perspective, one of the values of this is if you have a user who has issues on the system and they call a support desk, the support desk then will typically sit with the user and walk through the transaction again. And as we all know with computer systems, essentially the second time you try and do something, especially if you have a support person online, it's going to work fine. But in this case here, as you can see, because we have timestamps against the transactions, if I know the user's name and know the approximate time that the user was having issues, the user can then get off the call and go back to doing what they're supposed to be doing. And as a support analyst, then I can go directly into the transaction set from here to see what the issue was. Walk through the transaction and see where the problem areas were, including replaying that transaction if necessary. So there's a lot of scope for increasing efficiencies into the way that the system is triaged here. Okay. Again, you'll recognize the screens. We've just gone through some of them. So this landing page, this is the older version of the landing page. We've still got that the information. As I say, just the information that comes from here. This is typically the sort of information that we need for support, and can very often be difficult to locate fairly quickly. But all of that information is available directly from here, from Enterprise Manager. I showed you the beacons. So the beacons, we can overlay beacons to see the how that transaction is running from different parts of the network. And it also supports SOAP, so we can do web service tests as well. I think that the idea of being able to test IB services, including SOAP and REST, is going to become increasingly important in a PeopleSoft environment as we start rolling out the mobile transactions. The ability to set KPIs and to do the service level management directly from Enterprise Manager. Enterprise Manager as an overall product also has the ability to do chargebacks. So if just understanding the costs for a department to understand the cost of them doing business within an organization, and also from central IT to understand, even if those chargebacks are never actually issued against the department, just to understand the different rates that different departments can cost overall IT. As I say, setting up alerts, I can't underemphasize how important this becomes then for proactive management of the system. The ability to manage log files, not only to view log files but also to purge them directly from Enterprise Manager, then becomes just overall adding to the value of system management that Enterprise Manager delivers. And from our perspective, from a PeopleSoft and PeopleTools perspective, with each release, we enhance the solution. So we either add new metrics, or as you saw between 853 and 854, we've adopted that the new delivered UI from Enterprise Manager. As we go on, we're looking at deepening the integration with Rui. Rui has what's called a PeopleSoft Accelerator, which has that PeopleSoft awareness. So understanding the transaction formats that PeopleSoft delivers, but actually making more use of that to build that traffic flow from Rui into the PeopleSoft, say the application server, the P administration, just to build that that transaction all the way through the stack. And with each release, then we take, as you saw, we take advantage of the features that are Enterprise Manager delivered. Oops. And as I say, with each PeopleTools release, we release a version of the plugin, and with each version of the plugin that we release, we're supporting both the different versions of Enterprise Manager, but we also support the supported versions of People Tools with that release. With 854, we're delivering a cloning feature in the PeopleSoft plugin. So rather than just creating a copy of say the configuration files, we can actually clone an environment. So it makes it easier to deploy multiple instances of the application server, say, or to create like environments across the enterprise. So we're creating, say, a dev environment from the production environment. We can very quickly do that with the Enterprise Manager and the PeopleSoft plugin. So that brings me to the end of that. I think I've shown some of the features from the suite. We've gone through some of the main features that are delivered by PeopleSoft for the plugin with the application or the Enterprise Manager for application management.